Okay, today's the 3rd of September. Special video, two things today. We'll get to the weather in a little bit, which will talk about the winter and really what I expect to happen now that some of the models have come through and we kind of have a better idea what to expect. And it's kind of going to be a messy winter. But the other thing is a lot of people haven't been on a lot, partly because of my wife passed away and trying to deal with all the things that go with that when you're doing it basically by yourself. Um, and she had issues prior to it, and we only had so much insurance to cover things, and got a lot of additional expenses that I really can't afford that I'm trying to piece together. So, um, working extra hours and things like that trying to happen. But I started a GoFundMe page, and it'll be listed above above the video, up in the comment section. And I would appreciate if you can go into the GoFundMe and whatever you can donate or pass it on to your friends or whatever, and maybe help cover some of the expenses, like a stone and things like that. So that is what the first part of this is all about. You know, what we're looking for heading into winter. As you know, right now things are about a little bit below normal. We've had some chilly nights. I think we'll get pick up a little bit next week, temperature wise. I don't see any prolonged heat waves anymore. I think we're done with that. Um, right now, this is a map showing the white is usually normal. The orangish yellow type colors are above normal, and you can see here's Pennsylvania, Delaware, New Jersey. Here we're pretty much normal to just maybe a little bit above. As we get into the fall months, this takes us into here's November and December, heading November and December. And as you can see, cooler temperatures early on in the winter, November, December. Things, I think from mid-November on, we'll get into colder temperatures. But the battleground is going to be right here, and I'm going to show you why. As we get into, you can get into December and stuff. You can see colder temperatures. Here's your normal, and here's your below normal. Usually right between the middle here, or you see this white, which is Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and parts of Delaware. It's the battleground area. Usually, what that means is the storms that come through could start off as snow, will change over to sleet and freezing rain, and maybe even to rain in some areas. But it's going to lead to icy conditions, and hopefully your salt people are out there doing their jobs, because I see that happening a lot this winter. A lot more ice and slush and things like that. It doesn't count out a storm off the coast here, but when we're looking at the overall weather as we go, as we move this into the first of next year, you can see here's January and February. It's still right, or this white line is still basically over most of Pennsylvania. Now, if this comes down a little further south, well, then, we get a little bit more ice further south here. But I think the word for the summer, for the winter, is going to be ice, slush, mixture, combination of everything. Now, as we get into February and March, you can see the temperatures begin to rise up here as we get into March and April. And again, the dividing line is still cutting across parts of Jersey, Pennsylvania, and across here. And here's your cold temperatures up in Canada. If you remember last year, Canada was warm, so it's reversed itself. Now this takes you through March, April, into May, and you can still see the dividing line. So basically, if you're asking my opinion, early cold, early possibles of snow and things like that, I would say January into February, you're going to be warmer than usual. So I think the chances of storms are not going to be there. Coastal storms could. In other words, cold air will come down, but it won't be any prolonged cold air January into February. There won't be any prolonged uh, cold temperatures. What it does is it allows for fronts to come down, bring cold air in, and then immediately you get a night or two of cold temperatures and then it rises up. But I don't see any prolonged periods of very frigid temperatures that you would have to worry about, which is good for your heating bill. Again, that's kind of the way I see it right now. And then as we start getting into early spring, things begin to change, and as we get into June, and again, it's almost like clockwork in Pennsylvania. I mean it. Memorial Day hits, temperatures get hot. Labor Day hits, temperatures get cold. It works almost like clockwork. Again, I don't see anything out of the ordinary except Temperature-wise, I think we pretty much stay normal to below normal a little bit, but I think we're the dividing line and between the cold and the warm air, and I think that that's going to put Pennsylvania in a bad position this winter for the weather. And I would say if you're gearing up for anything, gear up for having some salt around and things like that, because it's I think there's going to be a lot of those mixture type storms this winter. And again, with this kind of pattern. You get the cold air drop down, and then you get the storm in the right place because again, the warmer air is to the south, so warmer air can breathe moisture. If things can hit right, you'll get a coastal, and that would make your snow. I think if I'm a predicting person on snow, I'll come out with that in October. But if I'm predicting snow, I'm going to say overall Pennsylvania and New Jersey and Delaware are either normal to just a little bit below 10% or so below normal. Last year we were normal to a lot of areas and a little below normal in other areas, but based upon what we had the winter of 22, last year, 23, it was we had more snow when you compare the two. So I think this year would maybe be a little bit less than we had last year. But again, all it takes is one coastal storm. Yeah, your numbers go up. So again, that's kind of the forecast. And again, go to the GoFundMe. Um, I'm going to post on here, and if you can't, that's fine. Don't curse me out for asking, okay? But I'm just trying to cover everything, and it's given me the idea that maybe this would be a way to help me out, try to pay for what I'm trying to cover and the things that weren't covered. Okay, take it easy. I thank you in advance, and I will be on here tomorrow night with an update on if the temperatures are going to begin to warm up. Hey, just in case you were wondering, upstate New York had a freeze warning last night, so it's getting closer. All right, take it easy.